Webinar, everybody. My name is McKay Allen. I am the content manager at LogMyCalls, and we're really excited you're here today. We have a really special webinar today with Oli Gardner, the founder of Unbounce. We'll get into introducing him and Unbounce more in just a moment, but first, let's go through a couple of quick announcements. Initially, you can see on your screen right now that we are on logmycalls.com/webinar. We host webinars every week, and we always have the best of the best in terms of guests. We have Oli today. We have a webinar with one of the preeminent Facebook marketers tomorrow. Next week, we have a fantastic webinar with Andrew Davis, who's the best-selling author of a book called Brandscaping. He's appeared on the Today Show and other places, talking about branding and talking about improving your website. So we have really good webinars. We encourage you to attend those webinars. As always, the webinar is recorded, so you can access it later, as a lot of people do. We encourage you also to ask questions during today's webinar. So please just type those into the question bar. I will monitor those, and then as appropriate, I will either interrupt Oli or at the conclusion address a lot of these questions that come through. So please ask questions. We encourage you to ask those questions. And then finally, people say, well, why on earth is LogMyCalls hosting all these webinars? Who is LogMyCalls? LogMyCalls is a call tracking and call analytics company. And we host webinars because our audience is really marketers of all types. We work with a lot of agencies, we work with a lot of small businesses, and we work with a lot of enterprises. We help them track their marketing, help them track which marketing spends and campaigns and ads generate calls, and then we actually analyze what happens on the call so they can determine if it was a closed sale, if it was a good lead, a bad lead, if it was sales ready, if it mentioned a competitor, etc. So our system does all of that automatically. And our audience, as I said, is marketers, and so we want to provide useful information for marketers to improve their craft. And as we said, today we have a fantastic webinar about landing pages with the founder of Unbounce, Oli Gardner. They were really the first to the party in terms of developing landing pages on the fly without developer time, and it's a fantastic tool that a lot of marketers use in a lot of different areas. So he's been really trying to improve customer experience and business conversion since about 1997. He's been featured in a variety of places, speaking as well as writing, including on the Moz blog, and his background is in usability and interaction design. So he founded Unbounce. They're located in Vancouver, but he told me recently though that he actually travels down to our area in Utah frequently to visit national parks, so he's somewhat familiar with where we are as LogMyCalls. So with that, Oli, thanks for taking the time today. We really appreciate it. He has a short presentation for us, and then we'll have an extended Q&A. So Oli, go ahead, sir.
Thanks, McKay. It's great to be here. First of all, I'll just quickly clear up the founder thing. I'm one of 6 co-founders, so just not to ignore the other guys. Okay, I'm just going to pull up my presentation here. Okay,
perfect. We can see that. That's great.
Okay, great. All right, there's me again. Feel free to follow me on Twitter. A little self-plug there. Okay, so what am I going to talk about today? Landing pages in 10 minutes. So this will be a super quick overview of landing pages and how to create them, how to do it right. I'll cover 3 main principles, and after you've heard those, you'll be way ahead of most people if you start implementing them. Why you should test, getting started with A/B testing, what you should test, how you should go about doing it, and then we'll dig into some really interesting case studies. And then I'll start answering other questions. And throughout the thing as well, like McKay said, just throw your questions in and we'll address them when they come. Okay, just quickly, Unbounce, build, publish, and A/B test landing pages without IT. As McKay said, it's super easy to get landing pages up and running, no technical people required, so it's perfect for marketers that don't want to have to, don't know HTML or any of that kind of stuff. It's super easy. There's a little look inside our drag and drop page builder. Okay, that's enough about that. Okay, landing pages 101. 3 principles, like I said. If you can master these, and they're dead easy, then you are so far ahead of most marketers, because I see these things getting messed up all the time, even by experienced people. So first one, something called attention ratio. All right, so here's a typical homepage. This one is actually Virgin Mobile USA, and you can see there's so much going on this page. Okay, so here, there's 57 total links. I like to call links leaks because everything that's not focused on what you want people to do is a distraction, and it's going to take them away, and they're going to do something else, and you're not going to convert because they're not focused on the intent of your campaign. So if we, I'll just take a little walk around the page here. These are all the things that people can do on your page, but you don't want them to. Let's actually look down here, promo 2. Let's say your campaign is this, promo 2. Well, there's some chance they may find it, but even if they can find it amidst all this clutter, they may get distracted by promo 1, and then all of a sudden your advertising is, your costs are, they're wasted if you're doing paid advertising. This campaign is now a failure, right? Because people aren't doing this. They're going off and doing something that isn't part of your campaign metrics. So I'm just going to continue going through all of these distractions. You can see the chance of someone doing what you want them to is super low. This is why you don't send traffic to your homepage. Still going. Okay, so the attention ratio here is 57 to 1. There are 57 things to do, only one thing you want them to do. So that's really, really terrible. Okay, a landing page designed specifically with your campaign in mind. One call to action, attention ratio 1 to 1. That's perfect. That's exactly what you want. There's no way someone can come here and get confused about the intent of the page, unless you do a really poor job. But I'll show you how to not do a really poor job as we go along. Okay, principle number 2. When you're building a landing page, you should start with best practices. Once you have your foundation page in place, that's when you start optimizing and doing some things. And well, I'll get into the testing in a little while, but you should start with 5 essential elements to build your page. It's kind of like a blueprint. So here's our landing page again. First thing is your unique selling proposition. Basically, this is the first thing people see, and it's super important that they understand what your page is about within the first couple of seconds. Otherwise, they're just going to leave. So an example here, let's use this webinar as an example. Okay, for a bit of context. So the headline might be 5 A/B testing mistakes and how you can avoid them. Okay, so that is described what the page is about, and it has a little bit of benefit thrown in, how you can avoid them, right? And then maybe the subhead would be Oli Gardner shares his best landing page secrets. So you've got some uniqueness there because of the name of the guest. So you've got benefit, you've got description, and you've got uniqueness. The hero shot, this is basically your best photo or video that shows what your product is. Ideally showing context of use. That's why videos are really awesome, because you can think of Slapshot or ShamWow. They show you what's happening so you can identify with how it's solving your problem. So for this, it'd be a photo of the guest of your webinar. Okay, benefits. This just breaks things down really, really easily so people can scan and immediately figure out why they should be caring about what you're selling. So maybe this would be learn 3 landing page tips you can use right away. Simple benefit. In only 1 hour, you'll be a better marketer. So today, in only 45 minutes, you'll be a better marketer. Social proof. Maybe this will be, you can get a bit more modern these days, right? If people are tweeting about something you're doing, so positive tweets commenting on the last webinar that your company hosted. So if someone's saying, wow, the last LogMyCalls webinar was amazing, right? Put that in there so people, start believing that what you're delivering has high quality. Maybe a testimonial about the guest that's speaking. Okay, and then finally, the 5th element is your single call to action. So remember the attention ratio. You want 1 to 1, so just one thing to do. So here it might be save my seat for the webinar now. Principle number 3, message match. This one's super important. Basically, this is a measure of how well your landing page headline matches the call to action that was clicked to arrive on your landing page. So either the headline of a paid ad, a link in an email, that kind of thing. So we're going to look at some really bad and then some good examples. You look at this, buying black shoes online was something I searched for, right? Here's an example ad, buy Marks & Spencer M&S black shoes. So this is your headline. That's what should be reflected on the landing page. And we go over here. The first thing you see is lingerie. That's got nothing to do with black shoes or shoes at all. And the headline is free delivery. So this is what I'm expecting. This is what I get. Back button. This is awful. Here's another one. I'm searching for a luxury resort in Costa Rica. Okay, this is a good match here. Costa Rica luxury resort. And then I get here, green season special. And there's a waterfall. Where's the resort? This is horrendous message match. There's no connection between this and this. Again, massive fail. Okay, so project management software for teams. This is getting a little bit better. If you look at the landing page here, there's only one thing to do. Attention ratio, 1-to-1, perfect. These guys know what they're doing. It's a landing page. And then at task project management. It doesn't say project management until this part. Get a custom demo. I didn't ask for a demo. There's nothing in here that says demo. So you've just wasted my click. Now I'm going to go back and look for what I was actually hunting for. So here, attention ratio 1, message match 0. So they're getting closer to good, but they're still failing. So imagine a PPC ad, custom packaging design. Here we go. Here's a landing page, and the headline is exactly what I clicked. This is great. It could be even better if start your new design project today. If their CTA here mimicked that. So this, perfect. This, not so good. So it's good, but it's not great. All right, so Facebook ad. This has two things. Here's the landing page as well. So here's the headline, $6 small business account. Perfect. It's an exact match. 6 is massive, small business account. This is one of the best matches I've seen. Make every dollar count. Make every dollar count. This is just so good. Perfect message match. Now look at the little dude here. If you're doing display ads or Facebook ads, there's an image as well. So you want this image to be carried on to your landing page. There it is, right? Everything here matches. That's perfect design match. This is about as good as it gets. Well, they don't have a strong kind of CTA in there. This is pretty weak. So but in terms of message match, bang on. That's what you should be aiming for. Skip past that. All right, why you should test. Well, it's kind of simple, right? You want to test so you can increase your conversion rate. You want to make your pages better, your campaigns more successful, get a higher return on your investment. But also to understand your customers. When you start testing, when you start gathering feedback, you learn what your customers like, what they expect, and what they don't like, so you can fix things that are broken. And Oscar Wilde kind of said it pretty well here. So this speaks for itself. You make assumptions, then you're going to get it wrong. Your customers think differently to you. Until you understand them and start testing your messaging, you're not going to get it as right as you should. Okay, getting started with A/B testing. Let's look at a simple process. Okay, once you have your best practice landing page already set up and built, then you want to start gathering feedback like I just mentioned. So this can be surveys to your customers. It can be a little widget that pops up and asks survey questions, or you can have live chat. Anything that gives you the chance to interact with your customers and have them tell you why your landing page is terrible, or what's missing, or what's preventing them from making a purchase today. That's some critical information that you can address easily and to bump your conversion rates. Okay, I'm going backwards. Then you want to form a hypothesis. This is where you construct a statement that defines what success looks like and what your approach is going to be to fixing the problem. I'll get into an example of that in just a second. Then you create your new page addressing all of these problems, and then you run the test. And you watch the money roll in, or you watch it fail miserably because you did the wrong thing. But you can learn just as much from a failed test, often more, than a successful one, because a failed test teaches you what you're doing badly. which is just great feedback and great fodder for your next test idea. And importantly as well, just repeat, just keep going, keep going. You should never stop testing, because you can always make, every page can be better. All right, so example, say you have an online flower store. So the problem, customer feedback indicates that people don't find the photos detailed enough to make a purchasing decision. Maybe they're too small, they're not, they're not hi-fi enough for people to go, oh, that's a beautiful flower. So your photography is too weak. So your test hypothesis could be, by adding a wider selection of larger, higher quality photos, visitors will be able to make a more accurately informed decision and thus buy more bouquets. So here's your landing page before. It's got one photo. It's not enough. Not many people are buying this. So using our hypothesis, we add more photos in, and we have click to enlarge photos. So now people have all the visual information they need to make the purchase. So this is a perfect test set up based on an identified problem. So you're not just throwing an idea out there, you're actually responding to a real problem. Okay, so a great way to learn is to dig into some case studies. Even if you're like, you're a staunch Colgate guy, when you get here, what am I going to do? Do I want this? Do I want this? Pink flavor, chocolate flavor. I don't know. Is this one better? This one is the ultimate toothpaste. Well, this one's also the ultimate toothpaste. This is for sensitive teeth, so is one of these. Inevitably, you just end up picking something at random. This is like a terrible homepage for your campaign. You got all these, the attention ratio here is like 1,000,000 to 1. There's no way they're going to pick the thing that you want them to pick. So there was a study done in a supermarket where there was a stall set up for people to taste and buy jam. They start with 24 options. You can see here there's a lot of choice. And then they tested that against 6 options, so less and, a lot and a few. So on this one, 3% purchased the jam. That's pretty weak. This one, 30%, because it was easier for them. They weren't freaking out over all this choice. That's a conversion lift of 1,000%. 10 times the purchases just because you provided less choice. So based on this, we ran a test. This is for webinars we run every week for demos of Unbounce. Right, so we started with 4 here. Simplest change in the world. We made it 3. 78% more webinar signups just by doing that. Just following the less is more principle. It's amazing. Okay, number 2, context. This is super, super important. There's a term called information sent. It's very related to message match. It's the continuance of messaging from source to destination. But there's kind of a key difference. This is like an experiential version of message match. You start with messaging, but then when you go through to each step down the funnel, you want the experience to remain the same, whether it's design, whether it's messaging, whether it's communication that consistently refers back to where you came from. So okay, I'm in the right place. They're talking about where I was. So I'm comfortable that I'm in the right place. So let's look at an example here. We have an e-course. It's all about landing pages and conversion. You guys should sign up. It's the Smart Marketers Landing Page Conversion course. Okay, so here's a page on the course, and up at the top we have a subtle mention of Unbounce. So brought to you by Unbounce, the landing page builder for marketers. One sec. So this is the beginning of our information sent. You know, we're in the landing page conversion course. This is what people are experiencing right now. So where does this go? What's the destination page? Well, we tested two things. This is our generic landing page that kind of talks to the main brand value. You know, this is what we do, more explanation of what we do, some social proof, there's a CTA and our hero shot. So it's a good landing page, but it's very generic. It has nothing to do with where the person came from. This one, on the other hand, is co-branded. So you came from here. It's brought to you by Unbounce. That's a perfect kind of representation of what you were just experiencing. So that's the co-branding. Then you have a contextual welcome. So how's the landing page course going? Oh, they're talking to me. I was just doing that. Okay, then ready to build some high converting landing pages. Yeah, I am. I just read about them and I'm ready to go. So this welcome is super contextual and makes them feel comfortable and like you're actually talking to them. Reinforcement of the author. So the course is mainly written by me. There's my photo. There's a message, personal message to them. So they go, oh yeah, that's the guy I was just listening to. Perfect. Conversion lift of 33% by having this personalized version that has the contextual references from, you know, where the person came from. Context is so important. Here's another example. Let's say you're writing a guest post for someone, a blog post. I wrote one on woofu.com. You know, they're a form building service. So I was talking about landing pages there because it goes hand in hand with forms, you know, for lead gen, that kind of thing. So here's part of the blog post. Start increasing your conversion rates by using a landing page for your Woofu forms. Okay, so I'm coming from Woofu. Again, the generic landing page says nothing about the source. And here we go. So immediately co-branded Woofu and Unbounce. They know where they're coming from. Use case introduction, add your forms to Unbounce and such. And then a welcome message. Hi, Woofu fans, blah, blah, blah. So again, it's just constantly thought, okay, here's context of use. You can drop your Woofu form into an Unbounce landing page. And again, the CTA is branded with Woofu as well. So everybody feels comfortable. Conversion rate to 40%. Just personalize your landing pages. It's amazing. It's almost a guaranteed win. Every time we do this, it wins. It's just a simple formula that everybody should be following. Okay, last case study. Show, don't tell. Here on the Unbounce homepage, we had a couple of text testimonials. Pretty standard, everybody has these. But then we tested it against a video we recorded of one of our customers. This is Nemo from Kissmetrics. Okay, this pops up a video so they can actually hear a real customer talking about how our service is benefiting them. 25% increase in signups just by switching out text to video. So a lot of people have questions about whether they should use video. Absolutely. It's not always going to work. It depends on how you use it, but in this case, brilliant. Okay, well, I've run through that pretty quickly. So let's open up for questions. I'm just going to leave this little thing up while we talk for a while. You can get 50% off Unbounce account for 3 months if you go to this landing page. And also, you should, even if you don't want to do this right now, go to the landing page, y.unbounce.com/logmycalls, and you'll see that contextual experience that I was just talking about right from here and there. So you should go and check that out just for that experience. Okay, so okay, you want to throw in some questions?
You bet. That was awesome. Thank you very much for the presentation. That was really good stuff. So I want to just run through a few questions that are already coming in. And if you have any more people, attendees, please type them in and we'll ask those as well. So let's see here. So do you have any, you went through your 3 principles there. What are the common mistakes people make as they create landing pages? What do you see that are the most common issues that people have? Is it trying to do too much? Is it too much copy? What is it?
So just getting back to the attention ratio message match, I've done a bunch of research. Well, to start with, I've looked at over 27,000 landing pages, so I've seen the great to the absolutely hideous. I did some research recently of clicking on a whole bunch of paid ads in Google, and over 90% of them led to a poor experience. Most of them were homepage or internal product pages. Very few went to a good landing page that has strong message match. So some people are doing it right, but generally most people aren't. So that's kind of the fundamental thing. But another thing that I see people doing wrong, if you're doing lead gen, loads of us are doing lead gen, do not have the word submit on your button. That makes me want to barf when I see it. It's terrible. Your CTA should describe exactly what's going to happen when the button's clicked, right? You've got to set that expectation, and then you need to meet it afterwards. So just never submit.
That's interesting. So you're saying that's a real throwaway phrase. It's just a phrase we use, a word we use that has no real meaning. We should actually describe what's going to happen when they hit that button.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's kind of a throwback to, you know, some bad Windows dialogue from 1990 or something. You know, it doesn't describe what's going to happen, so always avoid that.
Great. Now, you guys focus exclusively on landing pages, but you know, we've done webinars with landing page experts like Tim Ash and Brian Massey, guys like that, who say, you know what, every page on your site really should be held to the sort of same standard of a landing page. So in other words,
has to convert just like any campaign landing page. I mean, you probably have hundreds, thousands of people coming every day, and if they're not converting, well, your business is going to fail. So yes, every single page. And you can treat every single page, let's say it's your features page, your pricing page, benefits page, every single one of them should have one single clear objective, right? So they're all landing pages. Give them one intent. Just don't go like blabbing on about a whole bunch of different stuff on a page. Keep it razor focused, just like a landing page. So we're actually going to run a test next week for our templates page, which is a bit scattered right now. It has kind of general sign-up CTAs in there. So what we're going to do now, we're going to put some intent in there. So for every template, we're going to have a use this template CTA. So it's super contextual. I like this template. I want to use it. So you click on it, and it'll instruct you to either log in or sign up to use that template on Unbounce. So this is the kind of thing that you should be focusing on, giving a piece of intent to every page.
that's awesome. And then the other question that is coming up actually a few times here that people are asking is, when you test pages, I guess the first question is, how frequently do people actually do it? I mean, you talk about it. Obviously, a lot of people talk about it, and a lot of people do it, but it seems like it's actually more of a rarity that people would actually test. Am I wrong in that assumption? And then the second question is, what are the most important things to actually test? If you just have time maybe to test a couple of things, what are you looking for?
Just so this is the first part of the question, how often are people testing, who's doing it? Well, I think that it's becoming such a big thing now. Almost every marketer wants to test. You know, they want to improve their conversion rates, but having the desire to test and actually being able to are two completely different things. That's essentially why we created Unbounce 4 years ago. Just for that reason, we felt that pain in the marketing departments we were in and we worked with. So it's getting easier. How often? Well, we use our tool every day. To be honest, we couldn't do our marketing without it, and that's not BS. That's just, you know, we eat our own dog food, drink our own champagne, and the way we're successful with that, we have a landing page for each purpose, right? So for webinars, we always have the same landing page, which we use for every webinar, and we tweak it and get better and better and better because we're constantly testing it. So I would have for our ebooks the same thing. So our marketing becomes faster and easier all the time because we use the same thing. So if you're doing repetitive marketing, like you guys for doing lots of webinars, get one page going and just keep refining it. So you should be testing all the time. There's not really an excuse not to be testing if you have the setup to do it. There's always something you can test. So what's the best thing to test? Start with your headlines. it's the beginning of your elevator pitch, right? Think of a real world elevator pitch. If you can't get your foot in the door of the elevator, you're not going to get the chance to pitch your idea. So your headline is that foot in the door. If people don't understand your headline or don't appreciate what you're offering, they're not going to let you talk to them in the rest of the page, which is your actual elevator pitch. So start with your headline.
That's great. Now, I would be remiss if I didn't ask you about phone numbers on landing pages. Obviously, we're passionate about phone numbers.
Yeah.
We know they convert. We know they produce really high-quality leads. Callers are, are more likely, to purchase than someone who fills out a form. So tell me your thoughts on phone numbers on landing pages. Some people say, hey, they're a distraction. What are your thoughts?
Okay, well, it depends on your use case, obviously. If you have a sales department, you need phone numbers. So it's that simple. Is it a distraction? Well, going by the popular belief, yes, you should have one call to action. But in this case, you've established the quality is higher, and you kind of need both, right, to succeed. So one of the things, a really close analogy to that, one of the things we do for our marketing on ebooks, we give people a choice of digital currency, what they can use to pay for what we're giving them. So email being the obvious one. We also let them pay with a tweet, right? So they can choose. So it's the same kind of thing. If you're not comfortable with one, choose the other. So if people like to have a phone call, perfect, right? They get to choose the poison. And also, I would imagine, and you can probably back this up, if someone gives you their phone number, well, that's giving you a phone number versus calling. But if they do give you a phone number in a form, that's very, very high intent, because they know they're going to have a personal call with you. You don't just throw your phone number out there unless you're really serious about, what the person's selling. So yeah,
I would agree with you there. And in terms of the research that we've done, I think it totally agrees with what you're saying. I don't think it's useful in every scenario to put a phone number there. I think in some places, I agree, it's a distraction. And I think what you also said is correct. I mean, the data that we've run is that a substantially fewer number of phone calls can actually produce the same revenue as a lot more web leads. So if 90 people fill out a form, for a white paper or an ebook or whatever, and only 10 people call, it's very likely that the revenue from those 10 callers is actually going to be higher long term than the revenue from the 90 who filled out the form. So, I think that's well put on your end there. So that's great information. Couple more questions. We always get a lot of questions about videos on landing pages. Is it a good thing, bad thing? You mentioned a good example earlier where you like the video on landing page. Just kind of give us your rules about video on landing pages, and then maybe some areas where maybe people should be cautious about putting video on landing pages.
Yep. In general, it's hard to argue with it being a good thing. Let's get back to the context of use and those cheesy infomercials, right? If you're selling a slap chop, if you just have an image there of it, you're like, well, okay, it chops vegetables. What else can it do? How fast is it? How do you actually use it? You put a video in there demonstrating it in context, someone actually using it, not crazy Vince guy. You're like, oh, I can relate to that. That's what happens in my kitchen. I can't chop this stuff up. Wow, that's so quick, right? So they can immediately attach themselves to the experience and the pain they usually feel doing something. I don't know, for example. So if you have an online service, online product, say Unbounce, we do landing pages, having a video tour showing, someone using the product, or an explainer video which walks people through your main concept. But in the same sense, can it be bad? Well, what if you have a video testimonial that's totally cheesy and is clearly not real? There's so many testimonials are fake. That's something you should never put on your page unless you have a genuine one that's actually good and describes a benefit. So the best answer, really, and it's the answer for everything. Just test it, right?
Right. Just test it.
Yeah, it's the best way to figure everything out. If your customers respond to a video, awesome. If they don't, don't use it.
Yeah, that's great. Well, we've tested things on our landing pages and on our home page with videos, and even down to the granularity of, do you have an autoplay video that immediately starts playing
Right.
when they hit the page, or do you have a play button? All those types of things are things that should be tested.
Yeah.
Every variable that can be tested should be tested, I think, is probably a good takeaway.
Yeah, that's a really good example, though, the autoplay. I mean, again, it's context, but it's context of the person watching. Say they're in it's an extreme example, but say they're in a library. You don't want suddenly all this music and talk suddenly blaring out of your laptop speakers, right? So you got to test autoplay for sure.
Well, and the other thing we were finding as well is that, depending on how, if the video is super high quality, it may take it a second to load, and it may look funky when they first hit the page if it's an autoplay, whereas if you put a play button, it may give the page a chance to realize there's a video there and play it effectively. So there's a lot of factors there. All right, last question, and then we'll let everybody run and get back to the day. When you when Unbounce engages with a client, describe the process there. How do people get signed up with Unbounce? What does the price structure look like? Kind of tell us about Unbounce, what it is, how people can work with you guys, and sort of the types of industries you guys go after. So kind of the big picture with Unbounce, Ollie.
Sure. Well, first off, it's a self-serve platform, right? So people come in. It's a monthly fee, and they come in. They do it all themselves. We have amazing support. So anyone that has problems, we onboard them, and there's a ton of help information we have. But essentially, you come in immediately. You can pick a template. There's about 50 templates. You can pick mobile ones. You can pick things for lead gen, click-through ones for e-com, and the page builder is completely flexible. You can move everything around, resize things, change colors. Stick all your copy in. You can put a page together in minutes, really, and then one click to publish it live, and you can run an A/B test. It's so simple. You don't have to talk to any technical people. Yeah, it's super easy. We have a lot of variety. We have small businesses. We have some big clients like Canon, Adobe, but for the most part, it's SMBs. $49 a month to kick things off. Then it goes up to $99 and some higher plans. You do lead gen. You can send your leads immediately to things like MailChimp, Constant Contact, Salesforce. It's super well integrated. And check out this landing page here. You'll get a discount there, but also you'll experience that landing page thing again. So yeah, that's the skinny.
Good stuff. That's fantastic. Ollie, thank you for your time today. We appreciate it. We know you're a busy guy. And we appreciate everybody for attending today. As we said at the outset, this webinar is recorded, and it'll be available on logmycalls.com/webinar later today. And we'll also, of course, make this available, the recording available to Ollie and his team at Unbounce if they want to do anything with it as well.
Perfect.
So we appreciate your time, Ollie, and everybody. We appreciate you attending today. We've got a lot of good webinars in the next few weeks. I mentioned a couple of them. One on Facebook marketing tomorrow, which is Halloween, by the way. Happy Halloween. And are you dressing up, Ollie, as anything?
Yeah, we're having an unhero theme. Everything's on around here, so an unhero thing. So it should be pretty funny in the office tomorrow.
Good stuff. Yeah, we're having a big Halloween breakfast in the office.
Oh, nice.
And we've been told that we have to dress up in order to have food, and so I'm not sure what I'm doing yet. I need to get a little more creative, I think. So anyway, everybody, have a good rest of the day. Have a happy Halloween. Join us for the webinar tomorrow. And Ollie, thanks again. We appreciate it, sir.
Yeah, you're very welcome.
Okay, have a good one. Bye-bye.
Okay, you too. Bye.